Welcome back to the Tailosive EV podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, we have a full panel today. It has taken far too long. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show. We appreciate you.
It's good to have you back,
credits are
Randy.
accurate.
It's been so long since we've had you on the podcast.
It's been a week.
Exactly. It's been too long.
It's,
need you
it's funny.
every half week.
Assuming I'm going to jinx it that everything goes smoothly here. This will be the first episode we're back together since way before we took our trips.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think so. It's been that long.
The gang's all here.
What a
We've
reference.
got it. But I don't think I told you guys that I wanted to start with EV today. I just kind of took the initiative because thankfully I was able to time this just right. I got to ride in an R1S this morning.
Whoa.
Hey.
That sounds fun.
It was very fun. It was incredibly fun, and we did a whole video with it that I haven't even edited yet because I just basically got back and sat down. And man, what a vehicle, I must say.
Was this
They've done a
the
great
one
job with that one.
guy in your hometown that has one, or at least a friend of a friend that had an R1S?
This is Rivian Mike. His name is literally
That's
Mike.
right. This is the replacement mic. My bad.
So I'm sorry. There's another Mike in my life. You're just gonna have to accept that now.
I'll see myself
I have
out again.
Space Mike. You have Rivian Mike. But we have Y Mike. Model Y Mike.
Yeah.
Why? Why do I exist?
It's a good thing Rivian Mike doesn't have a Model Y because he does still have a Model 3. He actually has a LFP Model 3 as well.
I kind of like
So-
him.
What a shame.
My hope is he's a time traveler and he's actually me from the future, and I would like to
And his
be in
name is
this
Mike.
position someday. Yeah, my name changed to Mike at some point along the
Randy
way.
will be Mike
But-
in a couple weeks as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
The whole world will be Mike at this point.
But-
That's cool. Did you got to drive it?
I did not take the initiative of driving it, but to be honest, for one, I was not offered, but for two, I don't think I would want to even if I was offered because it's a very expensive, it's the launch edition quad motor and everything. He even spec'd up the wheels and stuff. And especially when we got in it and he floored it and you feel all that quad motor torque all at once.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart. I was like, oh man, I would feel nervous driving that vehicle, especially because he took it off-road a little bit as well. So we got to experience kind of how it handles a bit of a nothing crazy. It wasn't Moab style off-roading. It was just in his backyard and stuff. But I was just grateful that he was comfortable doing that, and I just was along for the ride. But yeah, the quad motor is absurd. And he agrees. It's just like so insanely overkill for the vast majority of the population. And he even confesses that I'm not sure if it made the video. We had a lot of things we recorded and then a lot of talk off the record, but he kept mentioning things surrounding like if you tried this in a dual motor Rivian, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That's still going to be a very fast vehicle, still very capable off-road. And he said a lot of things that I've said on this very show, which is funny because he doesn't watch our stuff or anything. He was just like, you know, if
Yes, he
there's
does.
anybody who has a chance at success, it's Rivian. I was like, that's what I say.
That's what I said.
So, yes. Well, you inspired me, Randy.
Well, you're welcome.
Great turning radius. Much more comfortable third row, I must say. Far more comfortable than
Ooh.
any Model Y or X third row I've been in.
Turning radius
And-
and comfortable seats?
Talking my language.
Yeah, it's no wonder it's like 3 times the price or whatever it is now.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
That's cool.
but it was also I felt like it was the Randy Rivian as well because it was the launch edition green.
Oh,
and the
yes!
interior was green as well.
That Meryl
It's
Streep
your
gif?
kind of color. Yeah.
Yes.
It's almost like I was made for this. But I don't think I'd actually sat in one or checked one out since the First Mile event years ago. So
I've never
it was
done one.
refreshing to
So I'm living completely vicariously through. I
Still.
can't wait to see that video.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't watched the footage yet. Louise was my camera woman for the day. She did a great job, but I can't wait to
Thank you, Louise.
edit through the whole thing. But it was very enjoyable. Although he did have very negative things to say about Electrify America. I wish I could say I was surprised, but that was kind of exactly what I was expecting. So that's
You
his
heard
pretty
the
much biggest
tragedy
criticism of it.
Electrify America.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that thing to go away, man.
Very tall though.
The wait, what is very tall? The guy, the car, or the Electrify America?
Yes,
Yes.
all of it. He was tall. The R1S when we first arrived was on like its lowest suspension setting, and I was still like, I did not realize how big of a vehicle. I knew it was bigger, but maybe I've just gotten used to my Model 3. But I came up to it and I was like, man, this thing is like my height in its lowest ride height. And then he lifted it up, and I was like, sheesh. And people still want Hummers when vehicles like this get that tall. Like, it was just amazing. The build quality as well felt very night and day. Just everything was just super solid, and all the doors thunk, and all the handles and switches felt very secure. And the software could use some work. He had some criticisms about how many menus you had to go through to get to the odometer. Was pretty buried in menus.
Oh, geez.
But I love how you can just switch between drive modes on the go and everything. That was cool. You had it, Mike. Your ride along was with an R1T, right?
Yeah, and that was seems like ages ago at this point. I feel like I need to do a
It was a
test
while
drive
back.
at some point again. Though I guess I did do a test drive. But yeah, those were fun. They're fun vehicles. I'm excited for what's it called? The dual motor Max Pack R1S, even though that you're not a big fan of the Max Pack from Rivian. I'm still a decent fan of, I know it's 10K for like, was it 50 more miles of range, but when it comes to towing and or just not having to stop as much, not bad. But yeah, no, I miss the Rivians. It would be nice to own one. I think all three of us agree that it would be a pleasure just owning one of those two vehicles that they make. But
Yes.
unfortunately, too
Or the
expensive so
delivery
far. Oh, yeah, that too. Too expensive, and yeah, it doesn't make sense in our fleets right now.
I think they know that very much. And honestly, I was listening to this interview RJ did with it was like a couple of kids or something that started a YouTube channel, and somehow we're able.
RJ's the
I
one you
sent
bring
this
home.
Interview to Randy.
RJ's the
we
one
were
you
just
bring
talking
home.
about how wholesome he is. Yeah, he was just so polite and friendly. And honestly, listening to that podcast, like, I can confess that I don't need a pickup truck, and I don't even really want a pickup truck. I feel like if I had one, I would just treat it the same way I treat my Model 3. But RJ was actually kind of selling me on pickup trucks. Just listening to his conversation about what we wanted our brand to be. I think Rivian is still in that, like, building the brand, building the audience, because they don't have that legacy support that the big automakers have.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really selling me on the reason we want people to care about electrification is to, better the planet and be more adventurous. And we thought those vehicles would kind of capture that adventurous spirit, being more comfortable taking it off road and going out in the wild and having it, mesh with the wilderness. Because, this is the first customer owned Rivian I got to check out. And when he locked it, it made that little bird chirp sound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or
I was
something.
like,
Whatever.
Louise, did you hear that? She was like, yeah, where was it? I was like, that was the car.
We're
that's
inside
like
a
the bird.
warehouse. There's a bird.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised
It's
how
just-
often that happens.
Yeah, that's true. Every Costco I've
It
been to.
meshes so well. It meshes so well with nature, and basically those vehicles are just so inviting for you to get out. Go out and explore. Go out, have an adventure, and try something different, try something new, and that appreciation for nature goes hand in hand with the whole electrification process. And the way he was talking about it, I was like, man, you're kind of making me want a pickup truck now, RJ. I don't even need one. I don't want one. At least I didn't think I did, but I don't know. I love the way he is building that brand. And Rivian Mike also made a great point that I totally agree with, which was that they needed to design it in a way that's iconic and different, which I appreciate. Like you can just, especially that front headlight design, you know, they couldn't just go with a standard pickup truck look. They couldn't just look like every other truck. They had to come up with some new face, some new style that was inviting. And I think they really captured aesthetically with that exterior. They've really captured that camping, adventurous, outdoor vibe. That's the vibe I get whenever I see one. It's like, this is like the outdoorsy, like looking up at the night sky type vehicle that encourages you to just get out there. And I'm still excited and very passionate about the Cybertruck, and I can't wait to hear more info about it. But the Cybertruck just doesn't scream that to me. The Cybertruck screams more apocalypse, Mad Max, like the world is over and there is only one thing left, and it is this truck. You know, it's just like, come with me if you want to live. That's the vibe I get from the Cybertruck.
I get on top of the Cybertruck when I want to get on the turret and talk to Master Chief while I'm taking down the Covenant.
Yeah.
This cave is not natural formation.
You get in the Cybertruck and you just hear dun, 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 dun.
That's the only
Whereas
song
the
that you play in
Rivian's
that
like-
car or in that truck.
Yeah. The Rivian is the gif of Obi-Wan and the speeder. Like, let's go camping. Woohoo! You know, he's just having a good time. Let's enjoy nature, and you know, to each their own. I don't want all the trucks to have the same vibe. I'm just describing the feel I get from each of their designs, and I'm very hopeful for Rivian's future, and the experience I had today just reaffirmed so much of like, this is such a special brand. Like, this is so iconic. This is not like other startups, and I love how original they're being and how focused they're being on their mission, and just great work. Awesome work, Rivian. Can't say enough nice things about it. Although he did make some modifications. He did chrome delete
Nice.
on the R1S
As the
back trim.
Yeah, best thing
the,
to do with it.
I
Besides
agree.
camping and
he did it
adventuring with
himself, and yeah, he did it himself and said, I didn't do a great job, and I was like, I think it looks great. He did like blacked out lettering on the back and stuff. So, yeah, get rid of that chrome, Rivian. That's my only suggestion, I guess, because it looks so much better with just the matte black trim. Sorry,
That's
Alpha.
That's the R2 series. Look at that.
Speaking
Oh,
of
yeah,
R2,
they're working on that.
I saw a whole bunch of Rivian vans as I've been traveling everywhere, and there's delivery vans all over the place, I guess. Who knows, or
Yeah.
who knew that Rivian and Amazon were just getting these vans everywhere at this point. But I was looking at the headlight design. I was wondering, would that make sense for the R2 platform more than the R1's headlights? And I wanted to get your guys' take on whether you think the R2 would have those elongated ovals in the vertical direction, or more of a circle like the EDV.
Ooh, good question. Do you need to process that, Randy, or do you have an answer?
It's not that I need a process. I've never thought about the difference between the two. It's something so specific. I was like, do you want this shade of green or
I
that
like
shade
those
of green?
kinds of
I don't
questions.
know. I think the oval is more iconic. No.
It is, but it seems like people like the EDV's headlights a little bit more than the R1s. So at least a lot of my friends seem to prefer the EDVs rather than the weird ovals. It makes it look too strange, apparently, for them. So I guess, I don't know, something to
I
for
consider it
Rivian
the
to consider.
Dyson headlight, because it looks like a Dyson fan. The air blade thing. The
Oh.
bladeless fan. It's
I know what
like
you're
the
talking
two
about.
ovals in the front.
Yeah, that's true.
But I
Circle.
do think
Make it a
that's a
circle
good-
so it's different. You want to differentiate. Because
Yes.
you're talking about Amazon and its fleet. Make the fleet stuff look different from what schmuckatellis like us would go by.
Schmuck. You know,
I
$80,000 to
do think
$90,000
you're
schmuck.
asking the right question.
Yeah, that's right.
You need to figure out how to separate the two, because that's the tricky part, I think, with R2 is like, how do you make it look different from the R1 platform, which is already really solid and, in my
Right.
opinion, beautiful and gorgeous and everything. So how do you scale that down and make it more cost effective, but also still desirable? Like, you can't make it too bad, but you can't make it too good. Otherwise, you kind of kill off your R1 fan base. So
Mhm.
I think I agree with Randy, though. I think they should try to change it a little bit,
Yeah.
make it a tad more circular instead of.
You know
But
what
still
iPhone somebody
having
got when you see
a
the
bar
color or
between
the
them.
camera structure, like, oh, that looks like an iPhone 10s or something. Like, it's kind of the same thing. And then, I mean, if you do circles instead of ovals, then it still has the aesthetic. The design language still kind of looks the same. That it still looks like eyes. It's just a different shape of it, and it's an easy way to be like, oh, that's the latest. At the point they're not in refinement yet, so you could be like, that's the latest Rivian. The same way we can tell Model S's and X's, but specifically S's with the front. You'd be like, oh, that's something that's pre 20. You know, that's a 2016 or that's a 2014. You could tell, and yeah,
Right.
or Highland now, right?
True.
So for the Model 3s eventually,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mike's favorite word.
I still groan at the word Highland.
Oh well. I think a light bar connecting two circles. You know, the circles are kind of like Jeep inspired in a way. I feel like the Jeep headlights are kind of that way.
Kind of has been with Jeep for a while, that design
Yeah.
language. So, I don't know. It already
I can
looks
picture
like a
the, like,
Bronco
roof
at this
mounted-
point, or a Bronco Sport. So,
Yeah.
might as well just
Right.
make it look a little bit. I don't know. Maybe here's a compromise. You take the ovals, but instead of being vertically, what's it called? Vertically oriented, rotate it so that they're horizontal. So that way it's a little bit more differentiated, makes it look a little bit more, would look a little more mean, I guess.
Maybe. Yeah.
Who knows? I'd have to play with Photoshop just to see if it would look good or not. I guess. I don't know. I guess
I'm curious when they want to unveil them.
they have a giant clay model of it so far, so they've got something, or at
yeah.
least either a clay model or something close to some prototype, either rolling mule or something else. So it's probably getting around there. It's just I mean, it seems like they're still throwing launch editions at customers. Like, they're not even out of stock yet
Yeah.
of those, it seems like. So I think maybe once that finally gets over with and they start rolling out the dual motors all over the place and being able to scale max pack or large pack and eventually get back to I guess standard pack. I think that's still something that they have to get to, right?
Yeah, that's probably next year.
Yeah. So maybe that will pave the way for R2 eventually. And at least let R1 be in the spotlight for as long as it needs to be before getting to the next big thing, which would be their
If I end
Model
up
3
picking
Nova.
up a model, excuse me, not a model, but an R2, I would name the truck. It would be a truck. I would name it D2. Yeah,
I'm sure you'd be the only person to have thought of that.
I'll be the only one who. I'll be. It's about being first, right? Everybody's doing raps now, but where's my flowers when I did the first? Yeah.
Yeah, as someone who, I mean, I think Mike is more the Ram EV guy, but I know Randy's very passionate about potentially getting a Rivian truck of some kind.
Yes.
Would you be willing to be in that kind of first initial wave? Because I think we still got a couple of years before the R2 platform is ready, but assuming an R2 truck was unveiled and you like the design and everything, and it's green, of course, and everything just checks those boxes, would you be willing to hold off, or would you want to hold off because you're like, oh, that's too early stage production, or would you be okay being an early adopter, like one of the first people with R2D2?
I have only one question. Will it have NACS?
Probably.
Oh, yeah, I think by then.
I think that's kind of guaranteed at that point. It'd be more of like
Yeah,
a
'cause they're
question of
switching
like,
our-
yeah, things
The only
like
thing
was it the Kia EV9 is kind of like that weird middle child. Is like they have to get it out there, but
The point I'm making is that the only thing I'm waiting for now is just for the adoption rate to just happen. Like, I want everybody needs to get on board. We're dragging your feet, but all that being said, I just want everybody to be on the same page here, so we can get through the growing pains. Because if Tesla would have lost that battle and we were on, CCS, then it would have put a sour taste in my mouth about like, well, that's the cost of being an early adopter. You have to go with the growth pains here, and like what you should accept those consequences as coming into such an early market. But seeing how I'm on the right side of history with that one, I had such foresight in 2019 or in 2018 when I first looked. I was like, this is it.
You knew this was all gonna happen.
It was inevitable. I am inevitable. But I would say that the only thing I care about going forward is just ensuring that everybody has transitioned over using NACS, and it's really about it's cost of ownership that I weigh now for any purchase going forward. And ownership to me is the mundane, the day-to-day, not necessarily like taxes or registration, but charging. Whether most of the time I suspect I'll be charging at home, but on those one-offs where I wouldn't be, how does that work? And say I'm living in a location that Rivian is very their presence is quite heavy there, and they have like their own network, and maybe that's more beneficial for me on a cost basis.
Colorado.
Out there in the mountains.
Bless you.
Thank you. Man, I need to drink water. Yeah, it's now a matter of like how would it fit into my lifestyle that I care more about than necessarily being first or middle or what. I got the first time jitters out of the way. I think the more appropriate question is how much are they going to sell used, because I'm pretty confident that's the route I will be going forward. I don't want to buy new anymore. I'm not interested in buying new. So yeah,
That's fair.
My only worry
I
is
feel
just
similar.
availability at that point.
I'm a
if
patient man.
Well, I would say so as well, but if it means that you don't get the initial wave of R2s, then you have to wait 5 to 7 years for it just because it's grown in such popularity, then does it make sense to jump on the grenade at this point and deal with the growing pains of a new platform and having to deal with native NACS on this thing? And
if it doesn't work out in my favor, I would just probably stay with Tesla then at that point. It's a brand I'm comfortable and I recognize.
I guess you could sell at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not I don't know. The needs versus wants, it's all first world problems, right? Like in context to it, I don't really need any of it. So as long as I got wheels to get me from A to B, then I'm already ahead of the curve. And if everybody's on NACS, then I want the transition to be as seamless as possible for not just gas to electric, but for all EVs to be on the same standard as well. And then from there, it's like shopping for shoes or a shirt, like going for apparel. At that point, I if Rivian can't offer me what I'm looking for at that time when I'm ready, then they don't get my business. I guess I don't know. I think for me, just going forward, I'm not interested in custom building another vehicle and going through all that again. Even if the tax incentives are there, and say it was in a state that's very beneficial to EVs, I don't know. But if that was the case, I mean, it's a bottom line thing. I don't know. I like the idea of letting, being on this side now of ownership. I like the idea of letting other people work out the kinks of a new line, a product line or something. Let them figure it out. And I'll do the Apple approach of like, okay, once it's refined and it's good, I'm going to come in. And then I'll act like it's the greatest thing ever. And only I have it and nobody else. Because on the big picture of it, a lot of people start on EVs, so they'll still, I still gush. Just looking at an R1S this past week. I was driving, I think it was like in DC or something. I don't know. I was just like, ooh. And every time I was like, me in my wrapped Model 3 and gushing about like, ooh, that's so cool. And the guy's like, whoa, that's neat. Like, we're just looking at each other like we're the other person outside the cage looking at the zoo animal. Ooh. I'm doing the Christian Bale. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I feel like every time I see another EV that's not. I mean, an EV that's worth respect, like a Rivian. I'm sure if I saw an Aptera on the road, I'd be like, even that one
How did you
brand,
get here?
that one company that's not a company anymore. That one, when I saw it, I was like, oh hey, look at that. That's neat. Look at you.
That's funny you mention that, because this week I actually saw Lucid in my hometown.
No, you
Oh
didn't.
dear Lord.
So I was
Yeah, that's not.
I was very confused
That's
because you
cardboard
guys
cutout.
know the hometown,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Huh? Are you lost?
Is the
What's-
president in
There's
town?
no EA for you here. What's
Which
what are you
tech
doing?"
influencer is here?
He just drove to Walmart to see if there was some chargers available, but there wasn't.
Oof.
That's
The
going to be in
struggle.
your local newspaper for the next month. Spaceship showed up.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think honestly, in terms of like long-term success and stuff, I think Rivian's playing the long game, and they did what is it called, a bond or a capital raise recently, where it's kind of like liquidating their stock so they can have more cash on hand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And my hot take was I thought that was actually a good call to make, because considering how early they are in their development phase, I still think they're pretty overvalued. So I would say convert some of that overvaluation into cash to secure your long-term future. And the Rivian Mike guy I was talking to about it agreed, and he's a shareholder, for the record. I'm not a shareholder, but he is. He was like, I own stock, and I think that was the right decision to make, because the cash is more important than maintaining the valuation, because long term this is not the stage where they're kind of justifying that value when they're losing 30 grand per car, but as he brought up, like a few months ago they were losing 70 grand per car. So
It's trending in a positive
that's a big
direction.
improvement. It is. Yeah, they're moving the right way. So yeah, I feel like
The ship has a hole in it, and
They're
it's
on
our
it.
job to get it in the right direction.
exactly. Yeah. Well, I don't think their plan was ever to become profitable with the R1. I'm pretty sure from the beginning the whole concept was, build a brand, figure out how to maintain a fleet, and like start a revenue stream with R1, and then R2 will actually get you to profitability. That's basically Tesla's same thing with the Model 3. They weren't that profitable before that. So
I think there's
My-
a lot of lunch that R2 could eat of the Ford Bronco, especially with a lot of the union stuff that's going on with the big three right now. I think definitely the
Yeah,
R1 series is shining at this moment because, yeah, we've got stock, but it's pretty limited for like people who want like a Bronco or something else. Where Rivian's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we could get to you within like 1 to 4 weeks if you choose one of these pre-built ones already or pre-spec'd ones.
the gear shop.
Right. And so I think they definitely, with R2, can be a major player against Ford in their off-road options, especially like Randy said as well with Jeep. I think the R2 could, if made rugged enough, could be a nice compromise for, yeah, it's electric, but you can do the Rubicon with it and on one full charge easily, in which I think that'd be pretty neat and pretty cool, and
Yeah.
would like that feature.
And I'm excited for like Tesla to handle the bulk of road trip chargers. And then I think the benefit of Rivian having the Adventure Network is they can kind of specialize in more remote locations, like Moab, or just out in the wilderness where there's popular off-roading events. Put DC fast chargers in those places, and now you can rely on Tesla to handle the kind of basic, drive from LA to Seattle routes and that kind of thing, just across country drives, not necessarily your Yosemites or your national park type scenario. So it's appropriately named. It's the Adventure Network. It's Ford adventuring. It's not just for driving on the freeway kind of chargers. So I don't know how they're going to handle the Adventure Network with the whole NACS transition, because they're still putting in new Adventure Networks and they still have CCS. I guess we need some CCS infrastructure still, because there's still going to be EVs with it. But long term, I suppose an adapter should work.
There's just one cord
I don't know.
on the Adventure Network stalls, right? It's just the one CCS.
I believe so.
Okay. Because I think there could be room for them just to add another cord there that has the NAX ports, and that way you're still fulfilling those, or at least granting those that still have the CCS port a way to charge, instead of being out in the middle of the wilderness with their launch edition R1S and realizing, oh, I can't plug in because this is a NAX port. And I didn't get my adapter or anything like that. But I think being able to add another cord to that shouldn't be too bad or too hard to integrate. So
I hope not.
maybe that's the path to what they're aiming to do. But right now they're still probably optimizing the design or trying to figure out how to integrate the next port into both the vehicle and their Adventure Network. So I think we still have time. It's a bummer that people aren't quicker, or these companies aren't quicker, but I think this is their grace period. Is like they're all saying, yeah, we'll convert over to the next port, but we'll do it in a timely manner, in which in that time Tesla's just building more and more superchargers. So no harm, no foul so far.
Have you seen the V4 superchargers going in?
Not in person, but online, yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
Same.
But I'm curious of your thoughts on the design. Like, do you prefer the V3 design or the V4 design?
The V3 is iconic, right? It's the nice little arch.
Yeah.
Every time I pass by a Nissan dealership, I laugh because their little dealership podium sign looks like a supercharger. I'm like, look at how big that supercharger is. The V4, it's all right. It looks like a giant PS5, elongated PS5. I guess not the new one that's coming out, but the old design, I guess. It's okay. I mean, if it means that we get longer cables and faster charging, sweet. And if it also allows for CCS ports as well, if you're pulling in with your Chevy Bolt or something like that, I don't really have a problem with it.
Okay.
What about you,
How about
Randy?
you, Randy?
Oh, no, I haven't seen them out in the wild. Yes, I saw them online. I think like big picture here. I wonder what the final design of like charging stations will look like. Like we have a pretty version, whatever, say version X is because Elon loves his X. When we get to the 10th version of it, would it be as like I would it have like arches and you drive through it and kind of like a car wash or something, but instead like it hooks up where it needs to be, and I just like is it as consistent as going to a gas station? Do y'all remember when they said super? I think it was supercharging. If not, I'm pretty sure it was supercharging, but maybe it was a service center. But I remember Elon saying, and so because he says it has to be true, right? I remember him saying that you could just pull up and do a battery swap and you would be in and out. It'd be quick.
That was long ago, but yeah. I think that was back in 2012, 2013.
Version X of the charging network is you just go up, and when because in my version you have like these arches you drive through, and
you're thinking like the whole Tony Stark level of things, of like it just adds things to the car, plugs the port in automatically, does your windshield as well, cleans that,
and then you're back on the road in 5 seconds as if you were in NASCAR, and you're gone, just taking off.
New tires.
Yeah.
Does everything.
Yeah. Beat stop. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of tires, real quick,
they probably
I need to
figured
tell you
out-
guys something.
Oh,
okay.
I know where this is going.
No, you don't.
I don't know where this is going, apparently.
We had a casualty in the Vasquez household this past week.
Did Sage's little car tire explode?
Oh no, but I think he outgrew his whole little Tesla thing altogether. So, but no, the Performance Model Y got its first like full-fledged, rim road rash.
Ooh.
Big yikes.
boy,
always
did
hurts.
my wife not want to talk to me about it. She was like, "Don't talk to me." I was like, oh, "Okay." She's big mad. She's like, "I don't even want."
I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to either.
She was.
I remember
mad.
my first. It was tough.
Me too. And she's like, "And this is why we can't have nice things." I'm like, "We're human. It's gonna happen. It's okay. It's okay." But
Should I just send photos of the rims on my Model Y to Brittany at this point?
no, you'll just.
Just a reminder.
I'm gonna be the one who has to fill the back end of all that. It's like, this doesn't make me feel better. That's your car. I took it. You know. But I bring it up because she initially had scheduled an appointment to get them replaced or something to that effect. I to be honest, I'm not paying attention to the whole like itinerary of what's supposed to happen with all that. But what I do know is like they cost a lot of money. And she was like, "Oh, maybe not. I don't know if we should do that, but maybe she."
I have a solution for you. Black
Black
Sharpie pen.
Yeah, saw that one coming.
It lasted for a decent amount of time, and then I think I had to reapply a couple months later. But it works. It's kind of hard to tell, but it works. So a lot better than trying to take into a shop. And
I'm just reporting the news.
Teslas.
I'm staying out of this one. I stay in my lane.
All right.
You're not picking a side.
Nope. I don't want to get. I don't get my butt chewed off anymore.
I plead the fifth.
Okay.
Sharpie. Nah, I could see that one just playing out great.
Well, those rims are huge, so they're kind of asking for it. Yeah, you're wearing those big old tires. So my solution is just usually I leave way too much room next to the curbs. I'm just that
Me
guy
too.
who doesn't park as well.
I'm not the one who caused the issue, and maybe that's why it cut deep because it was like me. I was like, whew, I was not the first. Thank God. Because if it was,
How are the rims on Phoenix?
I mean, not bad. I mean, they're little worn in, but no, not bad. I do very good on turns and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
I think I
It
got
was-
something, but like nothing a little black Sharpie wouldn't fix, Mike. So
Okay. I was going to add, it was fun riding in both of them when I was there. I guess
Yeah.
we haven't been on the podcast together in a while. But
man, yeah, I don't know if people even know. Mike
guys
was at
had a
my
little
house.
yes, I think that was mentioned in the podcast that you weren't here and I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun being in both different cars. And I think I mentioned in that podcast that it was nice to see how the 3's interior, it's okay, but it mimics what my Y's interior is. But your Y's interior is the new interior. But otherwise, they're both pretty fun cars to ride in and all that. Makes me miss mine on this road trip that I'm on.
Fun fact. Either one of my wireless charging, whether it's third-party Nomad installed or the first-party now, put in by standard, charging pads, they all suck. They don't work on my iPhone. They heat up. We don't get a good charge because nothing's mag safe. It's such a crappy experience. I hate charging my phone in the car, no matter what. And I got a normal size phone now, so I was like, oh sweet, now I can charge you. Don't have to put something underneath the mini to elevate it. Just put it down, and it just sometimes it just stops charging for whatever. It's not even getting the whole like it'll start charging once it cools down. Even though I've gotten those prompts too about it being too hot or that it would just not charge. I'm like, oh man, this sucks. So it made me like my older Model 3 where I was like, cool, just get a little USB and put it in and go charge.
I mean, you could still do that.
I know, but
Wait a minute. Those are chargers? I thought those were phone warmers to keep your hands.
no,
see.
I have a regular
like the
iPhone
steering wheel.
15, not the Pros.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
nothing's warm. It's cold.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I think there's one person on this show that could technically get the new first party wrap option.
Well, stop.
If you're looking for a band-aid on that rim.
I don't think it
think
wraps
it
the
goes on the
rim,
rim.
Drew. And funny enough, I brought it up and I saw. I was like, "Hey, babe, look at this." She goes, "It's more than what you paid." I was like, "Yeah, but it's just okay. I don't know. Somebody's fighting with Sawyer online about it, but he's saying it's not expensive or something. I don't know. I'm just again, I'm reporting the news to you, babe. Okay, we're not doing it."
Apparently, it's fair market value because the wrap goes in between the door jams or something.
What does that
I don't
even
know.
mean?
But I was like, I'm never gonna look there.
That's such
I don't
a
even know if
silly
my
note.
door jams are wrapped. I don't know. It is actually funny enough. Randy, you said that it's more than what you paid. It's less than what I paid. So I do believe that is a fair market value in some regards. I did get mine done by a dude who wraps extravagant exotic cars and all that. So I wanted to make sure that if I was going to wrap a car for the first time ever, because I've never had someone wrap my car ever, I wanted it done decently well, no problems or issues. And if there was, he would fix it free of charge and all that. So the price for it, I'm like, okay, that's not too bad, but it's the colors that I have the problem with. They're too boring.
Ah.
Yeah. Look, I mean, realistically, not really many people are going to get it done here because you have to go down to San Diego and I forget the other location. I was like, oh, okay, Carlsbad. That's where I got my wrap done. I think it's at the service center though, but for all I know, where I got my wrap, it was next door to the service center that I was in Carlsbad.
They probably
So
do
it's
it, or they probably
maybe
might
they're
be
the one-
working on.
So in that sense, I
Okay.
say it's overpriced because I paid less at the same place a couple years ago. So,
Maybe. It
But
would be
that
That was
smart.
pre-COVID, wasn't it?
huh?
Didn't you get your car wrapped before the pandemic?
Yeah.
Before the Fire Nation attacked, everything changed. All the prices,
Before
and
the Empire.
inflation, and stimulus, and everything's more expensive now. Anyway, I
Before everything was on fire.
Before I had to uproot my life and forget my roots.
think. Yes,
That one, yeah.
Exactly then. Right then.
Don't
I
let
was
my
gonna
background fool you, ladies and gentlemen, because people make comments. I know they get on tech, but this is just to pretend like I'm back home. I'm far from home. Far from home.
No way home. I was going to add, it might be smart for Tesla to reach out to businesses like the ones that you and I have gone to, Randy, for wrapping our cars and get them certified so that way they can do these wraps for Tesla. So that way they don't have to put all of the R&D or at least all of these employees that know how to wrap a car at a service center. They could just utilize some well-known auto wrap shop and be able to just take, I don't know, some percentage of the sale.
Yeah.
Do you think they're purely just starting out with wraps so that they're ready for the Cybertruck launch, or do you think that's
Yeah.
unrelated?
No, it's with the Cybertruck. Yeah. That's an add-on.
There's so many wrapped Cybertruck sightings already.
yeah.
I would say no, but with the fact that they're specifying it for the 2023 Model 3 and Model Y, it is
There's
very
nothing
limiting.
proprietary about Model 3 and Y for 2023. It's they're doing the Apple thing where they're just feature locking first party.
You have to get a new one.
No, I don't.
Right. So I'm thinking that they're just
I thought it
using
was the
this-
ultrasonic sensor thing.
Oh, could be that. I mean, mine has a wrap on it and it's got ultrasonic sensors, and so does Randy's. It's
Yeah,
not necessarily a problem.
it could be done. I just think it's probably more time consuming to get the wrap all cut around those sensors, and they're like, well, we'll only do it if we could skip that step.
Maybe.
No.
I think it's just a data point that they can reach out to and look at. Is like how easy is this? How much money are we getting from it? Is it worth it doing in the United States, or should we just keep it to you and your weird Sonoma stuff? Randy is making thumbs down up here on the video portion of the podcast right now, but I think it's mainly either them testing for Cybertruck, or at least testing to see if it makes sense to do this in North America, or to just keep it as a thing in China because it seems like it's super popular there, and they're having a great time there doing it. But North America, it still might be an unknown for, I guess, just a OEM to offer it rather than let third party do it.
Yeah, it's harder here because you have to pay people. Sorry. Uh, that's just
Oh
that's just how things work here.
I'm not the one being controversial.
But
So the Cybertruck got sold for $400,000 at the Peterson Museum auction. What do you guys think of that?
I thought that was actually a little low, personally. Did you hear the Hummer sold for like over $500,000?
Just an auction for that when it came out, or
Yeah, the same auction. They did a Hummer and then they did an early Cybertruck, and the Hummer brought in more money, which disappointed me. But maybe the collectors or the bidders or whatever were more wise as to know that, okay, the Cybertruck is made by Tesla, and Tesla's probably going to start it at a high price, and then in a few years it might end up being really cheap, and then it's like, okay, what's the big deal? There's Cybertrucks everywhere. Whereas the person bidding on the Hummer was like, they're going to can that thing in like a month because no one's buying them. I found out that GM said they like delivered, but they're counting like delivered to dealerships.
Oh, that's weird.
He said, like, we delivered
Perfect.
1,100 Hummer EVs, and then when you searched up the website, there were like 1,000 Hummer EVs on dealer lots, awaiting delivery. So it was like, I think they're making a bunch of them, and no one's buying them.
Well, did you see the one post recently where one dealership was marking it up by $100,000, and the vehicle costed after like all the things that they tallied up added up to about $115,000, and then they added on their wonderful dealership fair market value increase, another $100,000.
Here's my cut, just a little bit for me because I
Daddy needs to retire.
Handed you some papers.
That person who got it at the auction probably got it for a steal at this point.
I know, right? They got it fair market value. They're going to trade it into the dealer for the same price.
Oh my goodness. No, probably less, because that's how it works. I wasn't surprised with the price that the Cybertruck was sold at, though. I was expecting around $300,000, I think.
Oh, okay.
And
it was a bit more than you thought.
Yeah, and I think my wife measured around like 500 to 600, so landed right in the middle of our guesses. But I don't know. I was expecting.
It sure is a great way to tell Tesla that it's okay to charge a lot for it. It's like a public test. How is the public reacting? I don't know. Do you guys remember there being like a first Model 3 bid or first? I don't.
Nope.
I don't think that was a thing. But there is a like, you want to bid on our Cybertruck whenever that's ready? It's like they don't know when they're getting their truck.
And whatever VIN it is, they don't even say what VIN it is. It's just some early VIN. Whatever that means.
They probably took the money, too. They already have it.
Oh, dear goodness.
So, you just wait.
It's like the Roadster orders.
Yeah, it's like that, but worse. Well, it's pretty close. $250,000 in 2017 versus $400,000 today. Probably close.
Break even.
But by the time that person gets their truck, it might be worth a lot less. Because everyone else already got theirs.
I wonder if that'll be the most expensive Cybertruck ever bought. Unless someone tricks one
probably.
Out. I don't know.
The more I think about it, let's they'll have some third party gold plate the whole thing and sell it at a profit.
Someone somehow got the Escobar Cybertruck.
The Escobar truck.
I was thinking more of like beautiful. Someone basically SpaceXified it and then somehow was able to like dive down into the Gulf of Mexico, grab some Starship engines, and then load it onto the back of it and say, "Oh, look, it's got the SpaceX package on the Cybertruck as well." I think that would increase it up to like $1 million.
Okay, we were talking briefly about the ultrasonic sensors earlier. I had a bone to pick that I need to get your guys' opinion on. So Tesla removed ultrasonic sensors on the Model S and X, mind you. Yes. But the worst thing is the Model X has those self-presenting doors, right? And they actually used some of those sensors to gauge the surroundings so they would know how much to open the doors by. Mm-hmm. So this is a recent thing I've seen in more recent videos of people checking out the Model X. The front doors no longer open all the way.
Hmm.
They just unlatch. They just unclick.
They do the Cybertruck
Like a
thing
couple
where they
inches.
just open up a little, or I guess the Mach-E thing, because the Mach-E's kind of made that their staple.
Yeah, yeah. They just kind of push out a little bit now, and then you have to open it the rest. And from what I've understood, they make a like actuator grinding sound, like you push on that door and it go because it's still got the motors in it, but it's not doing much.
Oh no!
It's like it,
That
I guess it
is
can't use the
peasant
vision only.
talk. Yeah.
So, do you think Tesla should have kept it on the Model X, or should they? Is there a bigger fundamental problem with the Model X? What are your guys' thoughts?
Tesla's being cheap.
Yes, and
What else is new? But so you're saying keep
Water
the
is
ultrasonic
wet.
sensors on?
that's new to me. Didn't know that.
Let's not go political, Randy.
Did you know you can't dream of a face you've never seen? Anything you've ever dreamed of, person-wise, is a face you've seen.
I disagree.
Is that why I'm not dreaming?
You don't dream with
You
your
think
lucid?
that's air you're breathing?
I like how he said lucid and then you said air, but not in joking about lucid. It was just good job.
Well, my face is going to be as blue as a sapphire at this point, but
And this is why they pay us the big
You would have
bucks.
hated that joke. All right.
I think I'm going to
Tesla's
take a
being
tour
cheap.
with this. Yeah, probably. I feel like the Model X probably should have kept those sensors, especially with those being, well, kind of the point of it being the Fabergé egg, is it being able to do all these fancy schmancy things. And if taking what am I trying to say? Taking those sensors out of the vehicle and not allowing the doors to open to a certain desired opening,
Yeah.
definitely kind of puts a damper on the new Model X's compared to its old versions of it, where it could just do that anywhere without destroying the cars next to it, or not even opening the doors and you have to do the rest because
You don't even need ventilated seats anymore. They're not proprietary or exclusive to the X. So the thing's just a big old outdated dinosaur fossil. That's what that is.
interesting.
So maybe that opens up for a bigger discussion. Do you guys think Tesla should continue making the S and X? This is a big debate I've been having because the upgraded Model 3 is already taking away a bunch of the S's advantages, and the S was already not selling great as is because of the interest rates, and the tax credit now has made the 3 and Y substantially cheaper than the S and X, and they keep cutting the prices, and maybe short term they've gotten a little bit of a demand spike thanks to the Model X just barely qualifying for the tax credit now. Don't get the yoke, that pushes you into a whole different tax bracket. So do you think they're worth keeping around?
My nostalgia says yes, but in terms of Tesla's streamlining of the production line, I'd say no. Mainly because if they're going to go forward with things like the refresh Model 3, where you've got ventilated seats and all these other things that were in the S and X but now are in the 3 and Y, then it sounds like the perfect time to retire them, especially if you're having to lower the price down to $69,420 again for the Model S. You're back at square one,
price.
and even though that you're making them for less than you were on the previous iteration on the Raven Model S and X, it might be more beneficial just to clear out that space in the Fremont factory and leave room for either more 3s and Ys, or introduce the robo-taxis there, or something, or I guess roadsters. But that'd be a lot of space for roadsters, I guess.
The what? What car are you referring to? I don't know.
A car that Tesla made back in the early days, in the early 2010s, I guess, or
Oh, yeah.
late 2000s. Yeah, around then. Just introduce those again.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
What do you think, Randy?
They should keep making it because we're not going to get a roadster.
Really?
They should. The S is the roadster, Plaid Plus or whatever. Like, just make your Plaid. Just, go there's a market that's not the majority. It's not even for the people who keep the business afloat. It's for the people who want to have like either a collection. It's for the people who want to pretend they have like, you know, the F1 Formula race, you know, like they want to have something that on paper is an amazing engineering with features and stuff like that, but it's it's no more than a collectible, really. I think the S is the. I'm trying to think of I can't think of a one for one comparison of a luxury large sedan that's, you know, still running gas, but it's like one of those, like a Lincoln, a Cadillac. It's
Mercedes.
There's a Mercedes, a
S-Class,
Benz, you know, whether it's Mercedes, BMW. The point is like it can try to live in that realm on the EV side of things, and the Model 3 is the Honda Civic equivalent, and then your X is the Hummer equivalent. You shouldn't buy it, but people but it's there.
Don't buy this.
You know,
It's there, but
it's there. And the Model Y is just the best-selling vehicle ever, so just let the Y be the Y. And
In the world.
could be more though if they advertised, right?
No.
Think of
Stop.
how much more.
No. Doesn't make sense.
All these people that just don't know.
the thing is, okay, so again, that guy, what's his name? Elon said that the S and X's purpose was to exist to help fund the Y and the 3. What became the Y and 3?
Yeah.
And so it served its purpose. So in that sense, it should go away because it doesn't. You're just taking up resources, but at the same time, they're not a startup anymore. No, we said this last week, Drew. No Fortune 500 company is a startup company. So it's not like how much resources are we really losing? It's not taken away from Cybertruck. It's not taken away from semis or roadsters or any other unannounced projects that they want to work on. It's just there, but if you're gonna pay premium dollar for a premium vehicle, you should have your premium features to include ultrasonic and doors that open as advertised. Like that. That to me, it's like it's gimmicky as heck. Yes.
Doors that open.
But doors that open. Don't give me continuity because the Cybertruck is just going. The Cybertruck ain't out yet. I don't want to hear that. It's just what we see now. To me, the Cybertruck doesn't exist until I see specs, features, and pricing. Darn it. There is no Cybertruck.
It's not going to exist for a while then.
Then,
I'm afraid. They might deliver it, but you're not going to get a price, in my opinion.
well, as long as the stock goes up, I don't care.
Oh. Well,
I
who
care
knows?
about
I'm not
specs
playing
and
that
price.
game.
I would like those, especially since
But-
I'm interested. in
Are
it.
you still interested in Cybertruck, Mike? Is that a
Yeah,
thing?
I'm still interested in it. I just want to know the specs and the price.
Yeah. I want to know
Be
so
like,
I can
"Man,
put
do
it
you
to
wanna buy
rest
this
and be
house?"
done with it from there. Once I know what we're working with, I can. It's no more guessing. I've been in this weird purgatory state for 4 years, and I'm just like, you know, like this is a whole high school. Somebody's high school went the whole high school career just not, or college just not having a Cybertruck. And thought like I'm gonna be the talk of the town, and it didn't happen. So you got people who started at puberty who are about to go pay taxes for the first time, and there's still no Cybertruck. Like that's a long time. That's a long time.
What a way to measure
Think
it.
of it that way. Someone
Did you know
was
America
an
is
8th
3
grader
people years
who's
old?
now going to college. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
At
I
least
didn't
Jimmy
think of
Carter's
it
still
that way.
alive.
And Jimmy Carter's still alive.
It's like asking someone. Yeah, that's. I mean, he's lived to see the Cybertruck.
He's going to outlive the Cybertruck. I guarantee you this.
He witnessed the birth and death of the Roadster. I guess we all did, right? Most of us.
No, just Jimmy.
But him included. That's a good way to look at it. I mean, my thought process that I keep seeing online is that there seems to be a lot of demand and a lot of interest. And it's quite obvious with the case of the Rivian, right? They have had, of course, a lot of demand with the R1T, but the R1S is still, they said, about like 3/4 of their reservations.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of demand for full-size SUVs. I don't know if, depending on who you ask, some people don't consider the R1S full size. I think it's pretty full size. I don't know what the firm definition is, but
How big do you want to make this thing?
I'm like, if it's not a Chevy Suburban, it's not a full size. Okay, but a lot of people are like, where I want a cyber SUV, or I want Tesla to update the Model X to have normal doors so that it can have a proper roof rack, or just be more affordable. And I know a lot of people that, like, regardless of price, just hate the Falcon Wing doors because of the quality control issues, and they're more prone to breaking, and they attract a lot of attention to you. Whatever reason, someone might be against it. So my thought process is, if the demand continues to taper for the Model X, even at these lower prices, it might be worth tweaking it to be a bit more, let's make it a bit more SUV like, and just focus on making the 7 seats standard with the X instead of an upsell. It could be an upsell on the Y, but on the X maybe that could be the default, and you try to maybe increase the height of the rear a little bit so that it's a bit more headroom and legroom for the third row, and it's a bit more utility focused instead of Fabergé egg, bougie focused, and that could justify, because it seems like a lot of automakers are going in that direction. Rivian's having a ton of success with the R1S, and Kia just announced the pricing on the EV9.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw that, but there seems to be a lot of public interest in these soccer mom SUVs, that we gotta fit all the kids in the back and have room for all the orange slices in the front. This is a common market.
How many orange slices are you taking to these soccer games? I would say, with Kia's EV9, I think the pricing is pretty competitive to the R1S. We're able to get an EV9 for,
that's true,
reportedly $55,000, and that's for a 230 mile range SUV, quote unquote, if you want to make it full size SUV or whatever your definition of it. I think that's pretty good. I mean, you don't need anything more than 230 miles for if you're just driving around the city, and not taking anywhere else. I would say if you want to go for, like, was it 100 kilowatt hour battery pack version of it that takes it up to about 300 something miles, that's good as well, but you're going to be paying a lot more. But I guess that means you're able to do further distances or something like that. I don't know. It comes down to the whole range argument. All that doesn't make sense to get the smaller pack or the larger pack based on whatever your use case is. But regardless, I think the EV9 definitely deserves some attention in regards to the fact that it's coming in at a pretty good price point, and it's a 3-row SUV that has, I think, 6 or 7 seats. I forget. Pretty neat. And so I think Tesla should pay attention to that. With, like, the X can't really, I mean, its price is probably getting close to down there at a starting price eventually, if they allow it to. But it might be a decent time to retire out the S and X and bring in a Cyber Roadster, and a Cyber SUV to accompany the Cyber truck. So in that way, you've got this new Cyber lineup, which I'm a big fan of, as you can tell, but also provide some competition there. Even though that the Y is the best seller, why not add more options, like an SUV or a 3-row that isn't a Fabergé egg that's got a lot of problems?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the last consumer segment that Tesla doesn't completely have covered, because it feels like the people all in favor of the 3-row SUV are not satisfied with the X. They're just like, it's too complicated, it's too bougie, and the space in the third row isn't enough. So I'm like, okay, well, before we get all into the, ramping the Tesla Semi and maybe making a dedicated van like the Rivian's made a van and stuff, should they focus on, I wonder what's easier. Is it easier to tweak the X into being a bit more utility focused, or is it easier to tweak a Cybertruck into SUV with 3 rows, or maybe it's neither. Maybe it's the whatever van platform they're working on, just making a smaller variant of that, and now you can have 8-seater, 9-seater because it's a bit bigger.
The cyber limo.
So it's the cyber limo.
And it has a kitchen.
Yeah, I think it's worth considering. It's an interesting debate considering that the pricing on the X has kind of reached pre-refresh levels. Now with the tax credit and everything, we're back to like, okay, what do we do with this thing? Especially with Tesla's trying to focus on growth and as many production as possible. And, you don't, like Randy said, you don't want to waste anything. And there's a lot of supply chains in place with the 1865 cells that would probably be just put to waste if they just straight up scrapped it. I don't know what those cells could go in instead, maybe power walls or something. But yeah, I think there's a greater chance of the S becoming more performance oriented, especially with the refresh of the 3. If the 3 refresh comes out and that eats into Model S sales a bunch, then maybe the S should just be like plaid only. Like that's the only trim they make.
Maybe just make it more of a track car at that point. Then just strip out the back seat, make it become that Nürburgring champion that Porsche's always trying to one up, and then it ones up it and it just goes on forever. And the Sapphire is just trying to do its own thing as well.
Oh yeah, the Sapphire came out. I forgot about that.
Aren't you guys excited? The Sapphire came out. You guys were so excited and happy about that last year, and I was sitting there pouting the whole time.
I was impressed that someone bought it. That's what I couldn't believe. They were like, delivery day. I was like, oh, they got one? Someone was like, yeah, that looks reasonable. I'm going to charge my $250,000 car at Walmart.
I mean, at least they got their $250,000 purchase.
Wow. That's a good point, actually. If Tesla $250,000 people didn't get anything.
You just gave money. You're just as dumb as us Cybertruck share reserve whatever. We're all just dumb.
Shareholders.
We're Cybertruck shareholders.
Whatever that means.
It's a new stock.
Whatever that means.
Whenever whoever what's that chick's name? Elizabeth Warren, when she breaks up Tesla, they'll put Cyber into its own company. Seems like they're ready for it. They've got the whistle, they've got the bottle.
Okay, Pocahontas, calm down. It's gonna be fine.
Everything's the beer. There's lots of beer. You just have the Tesla's like the friendly EV brand, and Cyber's the brutalist, wacky EV brand.
It'd be like Dodge and Ram.
The offshoot. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's actually that's a good one. But
that'd be an interesting concept.
I don't want to have the edgy, meme lord one. Like I want the one I want my RJ equivalent that I can bring home and flaunt to the family. That's what I want. Elon is when I'm rebelling. RJ is when I'm ready to take. Is when I'm ready to commit. Okay. Hey.
Elon's the emo phase with the hair going over.
It's not a phase.
Elon is Bully Maguire.
I'm gonna rub some dirt in your eye.
And Rivian is Tobey Maguire, just regular Spider-Man. Yeah, dude.
As Randy dances to it.
It's beautiful. I was thinking about this today. I was like, if I eventually, when I'm older, in a different financial position, if I was in the market for a truck, I feel like I'd be very tempted to go like LFP R1T, just because I love that look and I love the friendliness of it and I love the culture. I want to be involved in the Rivian, assuming NACS and everything. But I was like, man, the main thing keeping me towards potentially getting a Cybertruck one day would probably be like the referral program. If I have to pay for charging with the Rivian versus I don't have to pay for charging with the Cybertruck, but then you have to, that's a statement, that vehicle. Everywhere you go, you're going to have to answer for it. So you're You're paying for it in other ways, basically. That's
I was thinking about the referral thing, Drew. I don't think it's gonna be here as soon as maybe even like next year or 2 years from now. Like I think it's gonna go away.
I think so
Again?
too. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of time.
Yeah, referral
For a second
programs
time.
Well,
are just for market share purposes. It's never really sustainable. No company's in the business of losing money, no matter how good the loyalty you refer. Like they're not a credit card company, and even the credit card, like you have to spend a lot of money with them before you get there. You just referring people even has a very quick cap before you get some type of credit card perk, and it's once in a lifetime per account anyway. So. I was thinking about like, man, I got so many points I can use on supercharging, and Tesla's not gonna be okay with that. Like, this is the closest to a Marquez Brownlee experience I'll have about waiting for my Roadster or something, and they will be like, yeah, the influencers are benefiting from this, but it's still not sustainable in the sense that they will just let that ride out. They'll adjust it again. Bare minimum, we're going to see a point adjustment again, and it will get tighter. Like it ebbs and flows, just like the cost of the car itself. But I do suspect, especially once I say next year because I feel like once other non-Teslas get on the Tesla network for charging. I don't need you no more. They're gonna shut that down. So I mean, unless you want to use it for
they're gonna like
apparel.
Don't clog up the chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to use it on
I
a
think
whistle?
that was smart. That was. Why charge your car when you can do this?
Jack, come back.
On Titanic,
I
too.
feel like her lips are frozen to the stainless steel whistle. Basically, the genius of the redesigned referral program was the whole credit system, which as soon as they introduced that, I was like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't think I know. You don't think I see this. Like, they're designing it so that, okay, maybe they don't completely remove supercharging miles, but they could make them way more expensive.
Yeah.
Instead of, 4,800 credits for 2,000, they could make it 10,000 credits for 2,000, and then they make it 20,000 credits for 2,000, and then it's like, okay, all right, and then before you know it, yeah, you're right. It comes in waves. Like right now, they're a bit more in a demand phase. I think partly because the interest rates being so high, they're trying to incentivize. That's why I don't know if you saw the new lease options.
No,
They were
I don't believe in
insane.
that.
so low. I think it's
insane at this point. It's on par or lower than Toyotas and Hondas.
yes, it's definitely lower than a lot of Toyotas, and yeah, it was like $250 a month, I think, for the Model 3, which for a lot of people undercuts. Like some people spend way more than that on gas in a month. And the only downside is you can't buy it out at the end. But I feel like with all the demand levers Tesla's cranking on right now, they might reconsider that. Because, I mean, I remember the original thought process was we don't want to let people buy out the Model 3 at the end of the lease because we want to use that car as a robotaxi. I was like,
Oh, good days.
how did that go? So instead, they just put them in the used inventory, and that's where we're seeing all the great used Model 3 pricing. These are probably all leases that they take back and then sell for a decent profit. But if they really want to move inventory, these new lease options, I guess, are a decent way to do that. But yeah, if we get to a point where the interest rates come back down and the prices are a lot more reasonable, and of course everything's going to fluctuate again next year because the tax credit changes into being not just a federal credit, but now a point of sale like rebate where it's just straight off the price of the car. That's going to change all the demand again too. And whenever we get to a point of demand inflection where there's a bunch more people interested in buying them, I think you're right. That's when Tesla will jack up the prices and probably scrap the referral program or change it drastically so that all you can buy is belt buckles, t-shirts, short shorts, maybe FSD because the hardware's already
Some
in the
beer.
car, and they're hoping that they're like, okay, about 95% of our customers didn't pay for full self-driving. Let's try to get them hooked on it. The first one's free. And they just start encouraging everybody to use FSD through their referral program, and that's like the only thing you can get because they're hoping to get you hooked on it, and then you want to pay for it. It's not gonna work, but that's what they're hoping.
Yeah. Yes, on all fronts.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll go away entirely, but yeah, I think they can definitely just vary the credits wherever they want, put it at whatever price level that they want, and whether people pay for it or not, it depends on what the market's like. But yeah, I think
Yes.
definitely having the referral program back again and transferring over to the credit system just gives more power to them so that they're able to just do whatever they want and charge people whatever they want, and people will happily agree, probably.
This is why I'm still interested in an Aptera, because that free charging is just built in. I don't have to count on some interest rate demand lever being available for the free charging.
Power of
So
the sun
That's why.
on the roof of my car.
Exactly. Oh man, I really wanted to drive that. I was so bummed when that trip got canceled.
You poor soul.
Oh my god. We're trying to reschedule right now, and it sucks because he reached back out. He said, "Hey, we fixed it. And how are these dates?" And they're literally like when a bunch of families in town, and I'm like, "I'm sorry."
It's
I
okay,
was like,
Drew.
"I'm out now."
Drew, I can do
I
it
was like,
again. It's okay. I'll just do it again for you. I'll go back down.
I don't want you to do it. I want me to. Actually, let's both do it. I'd like to see you.
Hello! I'm
And
right
You had a
here!
hernia or whatever.
You had me
can't
already,
travel.
and you're all the way in Virginia.
For how much longer? We'll talk off mic.
We'll talk off
got-
me or Rivian Mike.
I
Or
can't hear
Space
you, Mike.
Rivian mic, space mic. When I get my Aptera, I want to play the because don't make me explain it. Oh god.
No, Drew, you actually cut out. I didn't hear
Yeah, you
anything
actually
you
cut
said.
out. I didn't hear that.
Oh, it's Discord. It's the making my way down.
All I heard.
okay.
Okay, there it is.
Thank you.
Okay.
All we
It's
saw
the
was
1,000-mile.
Do 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 do. Oh, that's all I saw you go. Do 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 do. Don't make me explain it.
Don't. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you cut out.
Basically, I would like to drive. Model Y Mike can be in the passenger seat, of course, and we'll drive it uphill all day because they got those cooling tubes installed. And
we'll find the biggest hill out there and we'll just drive up it.
We're just gonna drive uphill, and they're
That
gonna
was
be
my-
like, "I hope they bring that back."
That was my favorite thing
We'll bring
about
it
making
back.
the video of reviewing it. I don't know. Maybe we talked about this, or maybe it was in one of the scrapped podcasts that we did.
It was in the scrapped one.
But yeah,
that was a cool video.
Definitely one of my favorite things was like, I make that video. I'm like, oh, I hope people enjoy this. And a lot of the comments are just in relation to some other video of the Aptera not having a good time on a hill. I'm like, this isn't even related to what I was talking about in the video, but okay,
I know.
let's talk about this. Let's
I
have
had to do a
discussion.
whole rant video because of those comments. It drove me nuts. I was like,
I like the video though. I like it when you get all passionate and flustered.
Randy was like, "You're cute when you're 8."
Yeah.
I like it
I
when
like the
you're
way
hot
your
and
nose
sweaty.
crinkles like that when you get flustered.
Pretty much.
You're adorable.
Ugh.
It would be fun to drive that thing though. Things that, what I did let you made a video recently, Drew.
I'm waiting to hear back from him for the record.
Okay.
I offered to go there this weekend. I said I'd do it right now. If you say the
I'll
word,
do it.
Dare
head
me.
down there.
Don't dare me because I'll do it.
I'll drive overnight. I keep. Oh my god, he just responded.
Don't you dare.
Probably don't talk about it on the podcast.
Tell me. No, he'll be gone by then.
He said that he said this weekend's too soon. He's asking my schedule in November.
Who's telling you
I don't want
this?
to wait that long.
Who's telling you no?
Huh?
Who responded back to you right now? Is it
Chris McCammon, the marketing.
okay?
Why would you put that out there?
Why not?
I don't know.
He's.
He's no. I'm not.
They don't care.
He's
They're
such a
cool.
kind, gentle
This is
soul.
Aptera.
I love Chris. He's great. I had great
He's so
conversations with
friendly.
Chris when I was there.
He just gave me his phone number, and I was like, okay,
Oh wow.
thanks.
Oh, he didn't do that with me, but okay.
How many marketing people do that? You know, like that's.
Well,
I mean, I'm trying to get a pixel over here, and Google doesn't even want to look at me. After all that ad block defense I And they're like, no, we forgive, but we
You
don't forget.
peed on our pixel boy.
What?
Do I need to take down those videos? Tell me what to do. Gideon. Come on. Anyway,
We forgive, but we
Time
never
for another
forget. Yeah,
show.
we're done. All right.
do you have final questions, final thoughts?
I find it hilarious that the. Oh, what were you gonna say, Randy?
I said, "Do you love me?" He asked me if I had a final question.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yes.
that's nice. I find it funny that was it the Lucid Air Sapphire doesn't have a glass roof. It's got a metal roof just to save weight.
What? What?
You didn't know that?
Are you serious?
It doesn't even have a glass roof. It and the Pure have metal roofs.
No. That can't be right. I refuse to end the show until I verify this.
Okay.
What?
I'll just sit here.
Where is it? Where is it? Discover. Oh my god, their website sucks. What the? Oh my god, you're right.
You didn't notice that?
Holy
Look
crap.
at your
No, I did
face.
not.
You look like Christmas got canceled.
$250,000 and it's a body color roof.
You look like a less angry Rosie O'Donnell.
I would respond to something else also from Deadpool, but I'm not going to.
Why doesn't the Lucid have a glass roof? Shibadoo shabada.
No.
So how much weight does that really save?
Enough? I don't know. Enough for
Take
people
out
to
the
buy
ultrasonic sensors while you're at it. If you damage it, you'll just buy a new one. You're a millionaire.
it. Well, I find funny is that they're trying to preserve as much luxury with it as they can, but it's this giant
As I
like
can.
200 and was it 205, 210? I forget how quick it is, but like it's got all this luxury in it, and it also has little what's it called, rim plates as well, so it's aero for when you're not taking it on the racetrack and all that. But
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, you get all the same things with like the Grand Touring or the Touring and all that, or the Dream, but you don't get a glass roof because that's too heavy. And I just,
Yeah, it says that. It says standard equipment. Aluminum roof introduced to reduce total vehicle weight and lower the center of gravity.
guess it's heavy enough to where they're like, nope, not worth it.
Gravity.
I wonder if that will have.
Well-
Well, it probably should. I wonder if that won't have a glass roof in one of the tiers.
It helps with the weight. The center.
I think it's gonna weigh like a brick.
I want the record to show that my car has something that the $250,000 Lucid does not have.
Class.
NACS and a glass roof.
I said class.
Two most important features. Oh, class.
Class.
Lucids don't have class?
No.
No, they graduated last year.
Oh.
No, I'm just. Someone's gonna comment on the video, be like,
Whoever's defending Lucid, just know that every time you do that, Randy just wants to do it more. You're like provoking.
Every time you
like,
do
he's
it,
just gonna continue
another
this.
Randy Angel gets his wings.
Another iteration of Wings comes out. Wow.
I like that one. Music reference. Awesome. Just so you know, I make another version of Wings that comes out. Yeah.
Every single comment. It's just a giant playlist on Randy's YouTube channel. It's all just Wings.
Sapphire Edition. Air Edition.
Thank you for bringing this to my attention, Mike. I did not know this about the Sapphire.
And now you know.
If you really want to reduce weight, just to take the whole roof off.
If you really want to reduce weight,
I think that'd be
sign
great.
up for Apple Fitness Plus 90 days trial and commit every day. That's how you reduce weight.
Yeah. You'll end up in the hospital. Can't recommend.
Yeah.
Randy worked so hard, the doctors had to save him.
You're killing me. You really are. Yeah.
And on that note, we'll catch you next week where we'll be speculating more on Cybertruck specs, which we'll never know. Have a good one.
We didn't give a prediction this episode either. Bye.